Good evening and welcome to the May 23rd regular council meeting. Councillor Austin has sent his regrets. I'd like to pause for a second as we acknowledge the passing of Jim Smith. Jim Smith was the founder of the News. He was a fire chief in the township of Dumfries. He was a volunteer firefighter for 20 years. And Jim has an amazing family with wonderful children now adults. And I've always, whenever I thought of Jim Smith, I've always thought of this paragraph of song leader of the band. The leader of the band is tired and his eyes are growing old, but his blood runs through their instruments and his song is in their souls. And that wraps up the Smith family and Jim's life. So much love, so much music, so much community involvement. So I'd like us to pause as we recognize the passing of Jim Smith and all he's provided for our community. Thank you. Members of the public have been provided with the following methods to watch and participate in this local meeting this evening. Attend the township office located at 295 Greenfield Road. Watch the live stream by accessing the meeting on the township's YouTube page. Attend electronically to observe the meeting or to speak to items for discussion exclusively on the agenda. To attend electronically, members of the public are requested to register with the clerk's division in advance.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID.
That have been provided to the mayor and council prior to the meeting and will form part of the public record. And now I would like to call the meeting to order and can I have approval of the agenda, please?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Tilley, that council adopt May 23rd, 2023 council meeting agenda presented with the following amendment. Remove item 13.1 discussion from Councilor Tilley regarding the township dog bylaw.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. I would like to now do the Indigenous acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe and the Neutral people. We acknowledge their enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contribution to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people of Canada. And as we pause to reflect on this, we also realize that we are walking more and more in hand with the Indigenous people as they care for the land and the water and the world in its entirety. And we are grateful for this knowledge and for this walking together. So let us pause and reflect. Thank you. Thank you. I'd now like to ask councilors if there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Seeing none. Toba Davidson, is she? Toba, welcome. And you're up. Toba, you're on mute.
Okay, I unmuted and I think someone unmuted. Can you hear me now? Wonderful. And do you want me to share my slides? Yes?
Please.
Fantastic, can do. So thank you so much for having me here today. Let me know when you can see the slides and I will get going. They're good now? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. So my name is Toba Davidson. I'm the Executive Director at Sustainable Waterloo Region. It's my honor to be here tonight to present our annual update to the community with everything that SWR has been working on and that's been happening in sustainability in the region for 2022. You know, when we looked back at 2022, a lot of what we heard from the community and actually around the world was the idea of it being a return or a new normal. We all talk about this new normal and how the new normal is a change in how we operate. And what we actually thought of as a sustainability organization is that that new normal in some ways is re-engaging and returning. And of course, if you're a sustainability group, re makes you think of the reduce, reuse, and recycle that we all know so well. But you know, if you actually Google the re's or the r's of sustainability now, there are so many more r's than there used to be, like refuse or regift or return, even rot when we think about compost. And so we saw 2022 as the year of retrofitting, regrowing, reporting, reimagining, replenishing, reengaging, and many, many more. And there's lots of words on this slide here. And so we were really excited to be doing that, to be re-engaging with the community. The impact of that re-engagement was significant, and we saw a lot of shifts in how we were working and how organizations were moving forward. And here's just a few pieces of statistics. At SWR, we truly believe that organizations will measure what matters to them, and then they will manage what they have measurement on. And so we put a real focus on that measurement. And so I'm going to tell you a bit about some of these statistics and how we got to some of them this evening. Of course, you've heard recently, I was there in council chambers with you reporting on the climate action work. You know, we have this 80 by 50 target, and the re-inventory has just been completed to move towards that target to see where we are. And what we saw actually was a reduction in per capita emissions, but an increase in our total emissions, unless you looked at the pandemic year. And what that told us is that we are actually able to make significant change if we believe that it is important, if we are willing to invest and we're willing to make that change. So that gives a lot of hope to the climate movement. We work with the region in the TravelWise program in an effort to encourage people to get to work in ways other than driving alone when it's available to them. And that's not necessarily through transit. It can be, but it's also active transportation. It's carpooling. It's work from home strategies. And so we did a lot of work with organizations across the region in that return to work to reimagine how they would be getting their employees to work and how the working system functioned. On the right side of this slide, you see a few different statistics from Bike Month, and we are just about to launch Bike Month again in the month of June. And what we see is that this is actually an opportunity for people to consider a different way to get to work, even just some of the time. And what we find is that people who use active or connected transportation are actually happier at work and more engaged in their work and in their community. In the Impact Network, which is the program that most people know us for and that the township is a member of, we actually saw an incredible returning of membership. Organizations that were engaged with us, but for one reason or another, often through the pandemic, had sort of stepped away from this work, we're now coming back and saying, we know this is important, please help us. And that actually has signaled a shift in how organizations consider sustainability. It used to be that we had to go out to companies and convince them that this was something that was good for their organization, good for their bottom line, for their KPIs. But we saw a change that these organizations now understand that not only is it the right thing to do, as everyone thinks of for sustainability and environment work, it actually is really good for the business. It attracts employees, it reduces operating costs, it mitigates risk, and all sorts of other benefits. So I'm really excited to share that here as well. Of course, there's the regenerative building, Evolve 1, and if you haven't been in Evolve 1, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to show you around. It is certified as Canada's first net positive multi-tenant office building. It was built by the Cora Group and imagined by SWR and then brought out to the community, and we did some of the work to try to make this vision a reality. But what's really exciting about this building is not how it was built, but how it operates. Most buildings that have sustainability claims don't actually share their data and statistics of the energy use, but the Cora Group does, and they allow us to share it in our annual report every year. So you see here that the building uses about 800 kilowatt hours of electricity every year. It's a fully electrified building. There is only natural gas for emergency systems, which has never been turned on, but it did require to have that for code, but that the building actually generates between 106 and about 120% of the energy that it needs. So it actually is a fully net positive regenerative building, feeding all of that clean energy back to the grid. We also, in 2021, not 2022, launched a new program called Microforest, where we took what we called undevelopable land, spaces that weren't going to become something anyway, and returned it to its natural state. The first two were funded through a partnership with Aegis Foundation and a couple of other partners, but then who came behind us to continue this work. So the first two, we saw about 200 trees planted in 2021. It was so popular and so successful, we planted 6 more in 2022. So that means we had about 800 trees go in the ground in just over 12 months. And we're so excited to say that we've had 3 more go in the ground already in 2023. And we're projecting a total of 13 for 2023 to be planted. So 1,300 more trees. And we're excited to be continuing this. And these are in public spaces, schools, corporate locations, all kinds of places where we're not going to have something else developed there. And so we bring the benefits of a natural ecosystem back to that area. There's one last thing to share is that SWR did actually expand some of its boundaries in 2022. So we are now serving Oxford, Perth, and Wellington counties. So some of your neighbors that are right next to you, just to be able to provide the same services when they didn't have them there. And our excitement in that is that we're bringing more organizations on board to make the network stronger and the learning stronger. So thank you for your time. And for all of the support of the township. You've got some great folks on your team, and we're so grateful to be able to work with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Tova. Is there any questions, Council? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Williman, that the delegation received from Tova Davidson with Sustainable Waterloo Region regarding their annual report be received.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And we are moving on to the consent agenda. Councillor Williams. Councillor Tilly, the consent agenda. You do not have to read it in its entirety.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Williams, that council adopt the following recommendations as presented by the Committee of the Whole dated May 8th, 2023. A, report number FIN 1123, annual treasurer's statement on continuity of the Development Charges Reserve Fund as of December 31st, 2022. B, report number FIN 1223, annual treasurer's statement on the continuity of the Parkland Reserve Fund as of December 31st, 2022. C, report number PD 14/2023, request to waive a cultural heritage impact assessment and approve the alteration of a listed heritage property to repair the foundation, alter windows and doors on the listed heritage property for 2 Butte Street. D, report number PW-11-2023, letter of credit reduction request for Susan McDonald subdivision, Bigor subdivision file number 30T-17301. Okay. E, report number REC-11-2023, update and amendments to the ICE allocation policy. F, report number CLK-11-2023, proposed amendments to the 2023 council meeting schedule. G, report number bylaw -04-2023 Airports Fest noise bylaw exemption request for Hilltop Drive between the Howard Marshall intersections. H, report number FD-05-2023 Fire Department Incident Response Summary for April 2023. And I, report number BLDG-01-2023 fence variance request for exterior side yard 2 cores of State Court.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Councillor Williman, the next motion on the minutes.
Moved by myself and by Councillor Tilly that council approve the following meeting minutes. Regular council meeting minutes dated April 24th, 2023. Special council meeting minutes dated May 4th, 2023. The whole meeting minutes dated May 8th, 2023, and special council meeting minutes dated May 11th, 2023.
All those in favor? It's carried, thank you. Next, we have correspondence from the Ministry for Seniors and Accessibility regarding the 2023 Seniors Achievement Award. Which one did we nominate already as citizen for? Is this a different award than what we were considering? It's a different one?
Yes.
Does anyone have any suggestions? Council Wilman.
I was considering Lynn Creedon for the Airport Cultural Society. And a pretty major role in turning that group around and making that the garden club much more in demand and more useful to our community. So I think she's done a lot of work in that regard.
Thank you. I mean, none others, so we will put Lynn Creedon in there, CREDP. CREDP. All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. Did you read, Council Williams, please read the motion?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Williman, that the correspondence received from the Ministry for Seniors and Accessibility regarding the 2023 Senior Achievement Award be received, and that Lynn Creedon be nominated for the 2023 Senior Achievement Award, and that staff be directed to submit the recommendation through to the Ministry.
All those in favor? Thank you. Next is report number 9.2, clerk's -12-2023 data fix agreement. Motion, please, Councillor Tilly.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Williams, that CLK report 1223 be received, and that council authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into a 4-year agreement with DataFix to expire December 31st, 2026 for the voter list management services in support of the 2026 municipal election.
Any questions for this, councillors? Seeing none, all those in favor? Here. And next is 9.3, PW 09-2023 Public Works Depot Administration Building. Motion, Councillor Rowan.
Myself and by Councillor Tilly that PW report number 09-2023 be received, and that council authorized staff to receive a detailed design build tender document for the Public Works Depot Administration Building and to issue the tender document to the marketplace for competitive bid.
Any questions? All those in favor? Okay. Next is the report PW 10-23 Piper Street guardrail tender. Councillor Williams.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Williman, that PW report number 10.2023 be received, and that council award the quote for MD-2023-C60-RP-EPW02 for Piper Street guardrail in an aggregate amount of $106,023.74 net at HST to TMC Fence Limited, and a project contingency of $2,083.63 net HST be established, and that the treasurer be authorized to fund the budget variance of $35,000 net HST from the infrastructure reserve fund account to facilitate the completion of this project, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute any necessary documents to facilitate the completion of this project.
All those in favor? Thank you. Next is PW 12-2023 Jenkins Stormwater Management Pond Rehabilitation. Councillor Tilly.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Williams, that PW report number 1223 be received, and that council reject all bids for ND-2023-C14-RFT-EPW03 for the Jenkins Stormwater Management Pond Rehabilitation as they exceed the available capital budget as approved by council, and that staff prepare a follow-up report to council with alternatives for council's consideration on the issue of rehabilitation of the Jenkins Stormwater Management Pond.
All those in favor? Scary, thank you. And next report is PW 13/2023 duplicate dedicate as a public highway Miracle Way. Councillor Rowland, please.
Consulted by Council Tilly that P report number 13/2023 received, and that blocks 106 and 107 of Plan 58M to 658, being 0.3 meter 1 foot reserves on Miracle Way be lifted and designated public highway under this Act 2001. And then bylaw number 3410-23 being a bylaw to designate blocks 106 and 107 on Plan 58M 658 as a public highway be enacted.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is report number PB 14/2023 tandem axle truck. And Councilor Williams. Well, you started, go for it. All right.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Willoughby, that PW report number 14/2023 be received. And that council award the tender for ND-RT-EPW 07-2023 for tandem axle snow plow truck in an aggregate amount of $387,970.18 net HST to Carrier Truck Centers, subject to any surcharges at time of delivery by way of non-standard procurement. And that the treasurer be authorized to fund the budget variance of $70,770.18 net HST, plus any surcharges at time of delivery from the Public Works rolling stock reserve account to facilitate the completion of this award. And that the treasurer be authorized to fund an additional budget variance of $30,000 net HST for the fit up of the vehicle after delivery from the Public Works rolling stock reserve account to facilitate the addition of the vehicle to the fleet. And that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute any necessary documents to facilitate the completion of this project. And that upon delivery and commission of the new tandem axle dump truck, that the unit which is being replaced be deemed surplus and the staff be authorized to dispose of the vehicle through competitive resale, and the net proceeds from the sale be allocated to the Public Works rolling stock reserve account.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. We're now down to correspondence. Anyone wish to touch with any of the correspondence? Councilor Rowland.
I want to look at the correspondence with City of Cambridge 11.110, regards to the Queen Schaefer.
Any others? Seeing none, Councilor Rowland, you're up.
Concern I have with this, Madam Mayor, is Cambridge wants to designate as a community safety zone. But I think the problem with that road is that it was designed with the road speed design. I feel maybe Lee can comment on this, but it feels like it was designed as a divided 4-lane road with no driveways, no other entrance ways, just a couple roundabouts. So people are driving on that road at 100 kilometers an hour because it feels like a 100-kilometer-an-hour road. So asking for it to be turned into a community safety zone, all we're going to try to do is have more police that they're going to get more tickets, as opposed to if we really truly want to change the speed on that road, when you go to the region, ask the region to redesign that road or put some safety features in it to slow the road down, some obstacles in, or narrow the road, or close one of the lanes, or do something. Because right now, having police out there randomly or occasionally to catch speeders, while it makes nice headlines to the paper, it doesn't really address the issue. So the road needs to be either redesigned, or we have to accept the fact that people will be driving 100 kilometers an hour on a road that was designed to be driven at 100 kilometers an hour on.
Councilor Tilly.
Totally agree with Councilor Roman. The question would be, I guess, why was it? I know why they wanted to designate it slow, because it's I believe, from what I understand, because it has a lot to do with the noise and the speeds that would carry with, or the noise that would carry with those kind of speeds. The question is, does it serve its purpose if it's supposed to be something similar to the Saginaw one in Cambridge, where it's literally now on 70 kilometers an hour, which isn't excessive, but it allows people to get through town, which is really what they're intending to do when they take a bite of it. I don't know how much you can speak to this, but I do think it is something that if it's there, I know I have friends living with their houses backing onto it, and obviously Councillor Lispy lives right there. I'm sure they don't enjoy the sound and noises very much. But unfortunately, I guess if it's built as a highway, it should not be used almost like a highway. That's my question as well.
If I may, so automatic speed enforcement is coming. And at the last regional council meeting, 16 speed cameras will be put up. They haven't told us what the exact location is. 16, 16. These automatic speed enforcement cameras you will not be able to fight them. It just goes directly to fine process and get fined. So I'm hoping that that's what they'll use on Green Shaker Boulevard. There is criteria for safety zones, and you have to justify the reduction in speed, and you can't be just reducing the speed for speed's sake. So you actually have to have a reason for it. That there's people walking, there's a school, there's a hospital zone. There has to be some kind of justification. So the town Cambridge can do this, but I don't see it being improved. And the problem really should, I think, the automatic speed enforcement should be the answer. So that's what I'm going to recommend at regional council. Any other comments? Who has this lengthy motion? Councillor Tilly, you do not have to read it in its entirety. Maybe just touch at, just correspondence. Thank you.
And just if I can reiterate one more, or just the question is, I guess I'll share a little bit of a story here. I shared the information that CEO McNeely sent, and I put it on the fresh Facebook group, expecting them to respond. Well, that's great. It's great that it's all. The responses were, why are we using this highway as a highway? Why is it what it is? So that actually was very surprising to read all the comments in agreement to that. So I guess my question would be, do we say something? Do we add something back to, it is in the north end of our Ward 4 where this is located, and it will be keeping I guess people moving through, and if they don't find that the best highway, and it's that my conversation with CEO McNeely, we clearly stated they don't like that highway, they'll find another road that maybe we don't like as much that's going fast down that road. So is it a comment that we suggest that maybe we should make sure that this is used what it's supposed to be, which is a bypass, which you can use and effectively with some safety, but also with some convenient driving.
And I think that's where the question lies, is the safety measures. As the report shows, I actually shared CEO McNeely's email and from the police's report with all the regional council, so that they are also aware that everybody knows something has to be done, because people can use it as a highway, and that's fine, but you cannot do excessive speeds on highway. And so that's the question, is the excessive speeds. So if you want to make a statement, we could, or we can just see how things move forward.
I just respond. I'll ask Councillor Bowman, with your statement, were you looking to see that we support the fact that this should be used as a highway, or not as a highway, but as a bypass?
Councillor Roman.
Yeah, so thank you, Madam Mayor. So through Councillor Tilly, I guess what I was thinking was that it's designed as a highway, so it should be, why speed limit first of all set at 60 when it should be set at 80 or 90? Is the issue really the safety of the road design, or is the issue really the noise? And if it's a noise problem, why did the region not follow their own guidelines on noise, put up sound berms or whatever? So now people are being penalized because the region took a shortcut. So we should go into the region saying, put up those sound barriers, because that road, as Councillor Tilly mentioned, is supposed to be the bypass around Cambridge, and if people are going to be held to 60, then they'll find a township road instead and use a township road and drive 100 kilometers an hour down some township road. And we'll have residents calling us about people speeding on various township roads around that area. Let's use the bypass. So why is the reason to fix that road, make it what it's supposed to be, help alleviate traffic on our roads?
So we are saying that we are going to put a correspondence to the region and stating number one, may the automatic speed enforcement be used upon this road and also the noise barriers, which was recommended by the previous regional council. By the way. So I will ask the clerk to create such a motion that and I'm going to ask councilors, do we want the motion typed up now?
I guess we can craft it right now.
Councilor Jim.
I proceed with it, maybe exclude any part of this, or would you like me to go through it?
Oh, you don't have to just see correspondence as stated. You don't have to go and just say communication as stated and presented, period.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Williams, that the following be received for purposes of information. That all the information that we received be received for purposes of information.
All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So, did you have one?
I just sent it to Ashley.
Myself by Councilor Tilly, that staff directed support correspondence to the region requested the following engagement on the Queen Street Boulevard. The automatic speed enforcement provisions be explored and possibly implemented, and noise barriers be installed on the north right of way to assist with mitigating impacts on adjacent residential neighborhood.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next is the North Dumfries Program Advisory Committee meeting minutes. Councilor Williams.
For myself and by Councilor Tilly, that council received the following minutes: North Dumfries Program Advisory Committee minutes dated April 13th, 2023.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, Council Williams, RAC meeting, please, and GRC.
Moved by myself, seconded by Council Holman, the council received the following minutes. Grand River Conservation Authority, GRCA minutes dated March 24, 2023, and the Grand River Accessibility Advisory Committee, GRAC minutes dated March 23, 2023.
All those in favor? It's carried, thank you. Next, we have the bylaws, Council Tilly.
Moved by myself, seconded by Council Williams, that the following bylaw be taken as read a first and second time. Bylaw number 3898-23 being a bylaw to exempt blocks 102, 103, 104, registered plan 58M-683 from part lot control. Bylaw number 3410-23 being a bylaw to confirm the extension of Miracle Way, public highway in the township of North Dumfries. Bylaw number 3411-23 being a bylaw to appoint community emergency municipal coordinator, CMAC.
All those in favor? That's carried. I forgot to do other business. Is there any other business, councils? Council Bowman.
Madam Mayor, in light of Jim Schmidt's passing, I'm wondering if we should consider renaming Schmidt Park to Jim Schmidt Memorial Park. It'll still be referred to as Schmidt Park in general, but maybe we go that one step further and rename it. His honor.
Can I have a motion, please?
Sounds like a great idea. There would be nobody would be upset about that. Everybody would be happy about that.
Current plaque on block building that recognizes over 50 years of service and support to the community already in place.
Council Bowman.
I'll move on myself by Council Williams that Schmidt Park is in air to rename Jim Schmidt Memorial Park and that staff advance forward with appropriate park signage.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Can I have third reading of the bylaws, please, Council Bowman?
For myself, seconded by Council Tilly, that the following bylaw be taken as read the third time and finally passed. Bylaw number 3398-23 being a bylaw to exempt blocks 102, 103, 104, registered plan 58M-683 from part lot control. Bylaw number 3410-23 being a bylaw to confirm the extension of Miracle Way, public highway, township of Dumfries. And bylaw number 3411-23 being a bylaw to appoint community emergency municipal coordinator, CMC.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Now the motion to go into close, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Council Holman, that council move into a closed meeting session at 7:39 PM under the Municipal Act, section 239 2C and K to discuss report number CAO-08-2023, the proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, Municipal Act, Section 239 2C, and a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. This is Municipal Act, Section 239 2K.
All those in favor? Carried, thank Can I have a motion, please, to come out of closed and move into council again?
Moved by myself, second by Council Williams, the closed meeting session of council is complete at 8:09 PM and the open council meeting resumes.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Business arising from the closed session, a verbal report from the mayor. Oh, council received report number CAO-08-2023 for information purposes only. No decisions or directions have been provided at this time. Can I now have the confirmatory bylaw?
Move myself by Council Tilly that bylaw number 3412-23 being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of council on May 23rd, 2023, be read for second, third time, finally passed, signed, and sealed by the mayor.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. The adjournment, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Williman, that whereas business before this council meeting has been completed at 8:10 PM, and be it resolved that this meeting adjourns and meets again on Monday, May 29th at 7 PM for a public planning meeting.
All those in favor? It's carried, thank you.
Okay, comments from members of council, any comments? Councilwoman.
So, just returned from the Netherlands, and there I went to